1,000-yard rushing season in his 4 years. One season in which you averaged 4 or more yards per carry. They were 4-0 without you last year, and two of the teams they beat, Pittsburgh and Kansas City. And Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, they may not be as good as Gordon, but they're good enough to get it done.
You better remember quality of life. I ship him to Cincinnati or Miami.
Man, he's overplayed his hand. I can't believe he's in a position where he thinks he can turn down $10 million a year. Like,
he's saying, I'm better than
Melvin Gordon's going to end up.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, well, he's going to end up costing himself a lot of money.
All right, finally, the traditional stalwarts of the AFC North in Pittsburgh. The new hot-shot Cleveland Browns and the Steelers both have the same odds to win the Super Bowl this season. Big Bay entering year 16, while Baker is heading into year 2. Steelers missing AB and Lev Bell. Browns have yet to play a game with Odell in the mix. Bart, who do you think is the better team in the AFC North? Is it the Steelers or the Browns?
I think it's the Browns, and you can say, well, the Browns have never done it, but they brought in guys that have had success in other places. I think they're in a tremendous window right now as Baker Mayfield is a young quarterback under that rookie deal, so they can go out and get hired guns, bring in a guy like Sheldon Richardson. But the problem is when you go out and you spend all this money at the top of the market, that if those guys get hurt, they don't have a lot of depth. That's why they were paired with Nick Perry or Mike Daniels, right? Yeah, that's why they were paired, potentially trying to get some depth at that position. But I like everything that they do. I like how this team is built. They have depth at the position. Pittsburgh is going to have to figure out, can Juju Smith-Schuster be a number one? But it's not about, Juju Smith trying to replace AB. It's about, can Dante Moncrief replace Juju Schuster? Because what happens is he was the guy that was getting a lot of the production when you roll coverage to AB and you had to respect them. James Conner did a great job, replacing Le'Veon Bell, but for the first time he realized what it's like to have that amount of carries on his body, and his body couldn't hold up.
Look, I'm with Pittsburgh. I think I like the Browns. I'm from Cleveland, so okay. I hope they can get into the playoffs. I got them as a wild card, but I think Pittsburgh wins the division. Obviously, they lost a lot of talent, but I think that locker room is just going to be better. When Ben, I don't think that's just Ben talking. I think he really is being sincere, and whether you like him or not, when he says, I feel like I love the game again. Because those distractions.
How ironic, right?
But the distractions are gone. You know how
he's been trying to retire for the last 3 years, man.
The distractions are gone. As far as the receiving court, this is what the Steelers do. You know this. You could go all the way back to Plaxico Burress when they had to, get somebody in for him. Hines Ward steps up. Santonio Holmes steps up for him. Mike Wallace steps up for him. Then, Antonio Brand.
But it was
this
always
is what they do.
It was always two, though. And now you look at Moncrief, he's a retread. He's a guy that's the first-round draft pick.
Well, you like Washington? You like James Washington?
I like him a little bit, yeah.
And
but is he going to garner that respect?
I think Connor had a great year, and I think they, obviously he got hurt. Jalen Samuels, they're going to use him a little bit more, so I think they'll, try to keep Connors healthy. And also, here's the one thing they have over the Browns, too, the coaching. Now, I like Kitchens, what we've seen, but Mike Tomlin is obviously a proven winner, and Kitchens is a question mark.
Is a total unknown. That is, to me, the biggest edge the Steelers have by an enormous margin is the Steelers have one of the 6 best coaches in the entire league, a coach, one of the 6 guys in the league that if he got fired today would have 3 job offers by tomorrow. He's on that list, and Kitchens is a guy who 12 months ago today was a running backs coach. Sure. You know what I mean? Who's never been a head coach at any level. So, and I would argue of all the major sports, head coach in the NFL is the most important coaching job. And it's not just what you do during the week. You have so much impact during the game, especially, hell, we saw in the Hall of Fame game last night. Now all of a sudden you're going to have to challenge calls and non-calls. A lot of things there. So Freddie Kitchens is an X factor here and a total unknown. But talent-wise, go ahead, Bart.
I mean, but we've seen him have success with his offense. So all he needs to do is be the offensive coordinator. This defense is going to be able to run on autopilot when you look at all the talent that they have on that side of the ball. You talk about elite corners, got it. You talk about 2 bookend pass rush, you got it. Talk about interior pass rush, you got it. And when they go up against the Steelers, which they had success against last year, they're going to be able to put that, offensive line against the test. And that's a tremendous offensive team. But if Juju can't get open, then Ben's going to be under a lot more duress. And we've seen him hold on to the football and have, the propensity sometimes to be turn the ball over at an elite rate. So we're going to see if this defense as well can support, because it hasn't been the offense that's been a problem in Pittsburgh. It's been that Blitzburg hasn't been able to be in Blitzburg because they haven't had the corner support or the safety support.
Well, and because the linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers is a vintage position. Ever since Ryan Shazier tragically was carted off, they haven't been able to replace that. Steelers historically slow drip rookies. Not this year. Devin Bush going to be playing from the first snap of the season. And so I actually agree that the Browns have, I think, players 2 through 53 far more talent. I think the Browns hard to find a hole in their roster. I like their safeties. I love their corners. You mentioned their pass rushers. Interior D-line, they bring in Sheldon Richardson. Larry Ogunjobi has shown who he is. I think Odell's the most talented receiver in the league. Jarvis all of a sudden becomes a way overqualified number 2. They got 2 good running backs in Chubb and Duke Johnson. And that doesn't even mention they got Kareem Hunt coming halfway through the year. So we mentioned the questions at coach. Then there's a question of the 2 quarterbacks. Man, I love Baker. And we have seen in recent history, in year 2, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick went to a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz was on his way to winning league MVP for a team that won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, year 2, won a league MVP overtime away from going to a Super Bowl. Andrew Luck in year 2, 11-5, a 28-point playoff comeback for losing to the Patriots. Like we have Jared Goff in year 2, 11-5, went to the playoffs. Quarterbacks that are great win immediately. Maybe not their rookie year, but by year 2, if you are the guy, if Baker is the guy that I think he is, he absolutely can go toe-to-toe with Big Ben. And so if they're a wash at quarterback and you love their roster more than or I love their roster more than the Steelers, then unless Freddie Kitchens screws it up, I think the Browns should be the favorites in the division.
I think there's something to be said, though, for having been there before. And you brought it up earlier. And I know they got some veterans who've done it in other places, but it's going to be interesting. I just think, do you jump from where they were 2 years ago to where they were last year to all of a sudden, and I know the NFL is different. I mean, it's different. You go from worst to first a lot in the NFL.
This reminds me of my experience when I came here with the Jets. The Jets were knocking on the door. They brought in a bunch of veterans that didn't care about, oh, these are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They always win. We didn't care that these were the New England Patriots because we had known success where we had been. We had success individually and collectively, and we came together and we knew how to win those tight games. And then when it comes down to those tight games, it's going to be leaning on the experience of guys that have done it and been successful at other places, and they don't have that fear. They don't have that fear of Ben Roethlisberger, and Ben is going to have a lot more on his plate because he's the reason why people believe that Antonio Brown isn't there. He's the reason that they wouldn't, people believe that they wouldn't commit long-term to Le'Veon Bell. So now he doesn't have those outlets that he had last year. James Conner's tremendous runner of the ball, but it was Le'Veon Bell's ability to catch the ball that really helped them out and having those, those outlets. So let's see if Ben can step up and put it on his back. He can't try and throw for 5,000 yards like he did last year. That's not sustainable. He's going to have more of a well-balanced offense, and can he count on that? Because Ben's going to revert to who he is if things start to break down and go bad early in the season. And don't count out the Baltimore Ravens because they are dangerous as well. And they're one of those scrappy teams that have the physicality and the brand of football. I don't know about Lamar Jackson running the ball
200 times?
Right, 200 times.
At least we trust the Steelers a little more. I take a page out of Mangini and Colin Cowherd, and I just want to pump the brakes on all the hype with the Browns. I love them. I love Baker. I really like what Odell can do when he's not a distraction. I love all the talent that they've put together. But don't you want to see them just go out and play a game?
But so here's the thing, though. People keep we remember the dream team in Philly, right? And that everyone anointed them and then they were terrible. And that was a long time ago. Guess what? The hype teams recently have been worth the hype. The Rams, oh my God, they're bringing in all this talent. Everyone's anointing Sean McVay. They went 13-3 and went to the Super Bowl. Hey, Pat Mahomes, oh, he's supposedly going to be the next Brett Favre. Let's wait. Oh, they went 12-4 and went to the AFC Championship game. Like in today's NFL, man, the hype is real. And Baker wasn't. Baker's not a guy, it's like, where'd he come from? No, he set the all-time efficiency record in college, then rebroke it, set his own record, won the Heisman, was the #1 pick of the draft, and took a team that had won 1 game in 2 years, and all of a sudden they had a winning record the second half of the year. Like, I don't think that you are overhyping them. I think that you look at the talent, you look at the quarterback. Now, the division is tough. You got 3 legitimate teams. You said you have the Steelers and Browns going. The Ravens won the damn thing last year, and they should be better. They added Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
It was just great for them. But I believe in the Cleveland Browns. And
Mark Ingram, too.
Collins is a smart guy, but he's wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Man, he's wrong a lot.
I think you agree with me.
I do.
I think
Is that a first?
could be. You know what? We should sit and talk about it for. Let's just marinate in the moment for.
Bart, stick around.
We got more to come. Cowboy stars all
Somebody
want
give me a
big money,
Stoney for
but
my
do they all
jacket.
deserve it? It's not first things first.
You just